The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood Redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is Black Hollywood Live, the casting call. Featuring weekly commentary and insight from Hollywood casting directors and agents. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood Redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, the casting call.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Black Hollywood Live, the casting call, where we break down the casting process for you. I am your host, Tony Moore, and today I am joined by the very lovely Miss
Onyx. Hey guys, I'm Onyx. How are you?
And we have our very special guest. He is a reality show casting director, producer, and DJ. He is Mr. Lamont Pete. How are you, sir?
What up? What up?
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, good, man. I'm like super happy to be here.
I like
Hence
the song.
Happy.
I love this song.
We are down Miss Lena Green today. She is stuck in traffic. She was
you,
working
girl.
today.
Yeah,
so shout out to Lena.
Gotta love LA. It's always some traffic.
It was traffic on the way. There's traffic 24 hours a day. I don't get LA.
You know what? I was listening. Well, actually, I was reading this study, and they say that LA has the worst traffic on Earth.
I believe that.
All of Earth?
I believe that.
So that means unless we find life in the universe, that could mean it's the worst traffic in the galaxy.
That's deep.
That's deep.
And I'm into that kind of stuff.
Like,
But what I want to know is, where are all these people going at the same time?
Well, the 405 is supposed to be like the biggest highway in God knows what.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't get it. It's like it seems like every time I go somewhere, everybody decides to go in my direction.
What I don't understand, I understand traffic on a Friday, rush call, but what is it? What's up with traffic on Sunday at 2:00 in the morning? Explain that.
I would like to think those people are going to or coming from church.
Man.
Amen.
It's
Don't block them blessings.
That's funny.
So Lamont, you have been a reality show casting director, which I find reality TV fascinating.
Me too.
I am so in love with it. Reality TV is my guilty pleasure.
Really?
I sometimes hate to admit that it's my guilty pleasure, but it is. And I remember when the very, very first Real World New York.
Wow.
I remember that.
He took it there.
I took it
remember
there.
that, and I was a toddler. Like, my mom would be like, go in another room, this isn't for you.
Puck.
Like all those people, like I was an avid watcher of The Real World. I used to love whenever it premiered. I loved the people on there. And I had always told myself one day I would get on it.
Stop it.
And then I realized that there is a process.
Yo, that show is so hard. I was brought in for Real World Australia.
Okay.
And a good friend of mine who's the casting producer, Damon Furberg, he had, basically I was there just to try to find the token black guy.
Oh, God.
See, and, and I've had such a great success with casting. I mean, I pride myself on not just finding people who, make it on the show, but if it's like a competition show, they tend to be the last person standing.
Right.
And so Real World, I was like, how hard could it be? Let me tell you something. It's a profile. It's like, trying to become a part of the LAPD. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I never found that person.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I never found somebody for Real World. Eventually they found it, but it didn't come from me.
you. So how did you get into casting?
You know what? It's so weird because I was living in Atlanta for a while because I came out the music industry.
Yeah.
Hey.
And the time when I was in Atlanta, everything was so popping. You had Bobby Brown was hot
Really?
Bobby Brown.
He was hot. No, humping around.
Oh, wow, that was
Yeah,
wow.
him and Whitney
Hey.
had just gotten together,
Yeah.
and you know, LaFace Records was booming.
That's true.
And,
LaFace had a lot of
lot of
hits.
you know,
people.
and as a matter of fact, I was around everybody. I mean, even with Usher, you know, I was around him when he was a kid, and you know, they were trying to shop him around and everything. And so there was so much buzz happening in Atlanta. I kind of felt like I didn't really have a way to stand out. So I came to LA back in '98, and when I got here, you know, it just so happens that the writer's strike had taken place.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes.
And so everything was kind of like at a halt. And so, you know, there was already, you know, reality shows that were starting to emerge. I mean, Real World obviously was just up and running. They hadn't really dove into it, but it started to become like, you know, the cusp of dating shows.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically,
Yes, I remember.
so what ended up happening is I wanted to, you know, try my hand at the whole acting thing. So I show up to Central Casting. We all know about Central Casting.
We do.
We all know a lot about Central Casting.
We actually, that was one of our first guests, was a
Yeah.
casting director from Central
Yeah.
Casting. Everybody goes to Central.
Everyone
Yo.
starts off.
I went. My brother, who was trying his hand at acting, he was like, "Yeah, come on down, and you know, you can be an extra, and you can make some money." I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, cool, no problem."
Right.
And so I'm standing in line, and there was a young lady by the name of Olivia. I will not forget her. And you know, she was recruiting for a dating show. Now, as I said, this was before the dating shows actually hit, because we were
Right.
still in, you know, real world mode. And so, you know, she's handing me a card. Hey, yeah, you know, you want to be on this dating show? And I'm like, what is? And I'm
guess.
thinking like the Newlywed Game or something.
Oh, no.
Match game or
match
something,
game,
yeah.
exactly. He said, no, it's a reality show. And so I said, well, no, but you. How do you get to do what you do? And
Yeah.
so, I'm casting recruiter. I'm like, okay, and so you just stand here and just pass out flyers? And now I'm thinking about a job. She's like, yeah. I said, well, let me ask you something. How much does that pay? I said, well, you know, it depends. You know, if I go out to the clubs and hit up everything, about $600 a week. I'm like, what?
What?
That's good enough for me.
Right?
What? I said, well, you know, I mean, I would love to do something like that. Well, can you find people? What?
Yeah.
I was like, it's
That's
fat,
like a no-brainer.
It's fat, meat, greasy, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
hey.
So
hey,
she
hey.
told me to, she gave me a card and told me to come see her. And she wanted, you know, I could meet her boss, and, you know, because they're always looking for people who can find people.
Right.
And when I got there, her boss, at the time, his name is Austin James, who's still doing a lot of casting right now.
Wow.
And Austin had told me, he said, well, you know what? We don't have any spots available right now. But what we do have is day players. So that's a word in casting, day players, which means we're not going to pay you a regular check, but if you bring somebody in here who makes it on the show, we'll pay you.
Pay you.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
okay, well, how much? $20. Oh, okay, great. I'll
Okay.
take it. I mean, I was ready to get in, and I
Yeah.
felt like it was a way in.
Wow, yeah.
So funny thing is, they were like, okay, well, bring in people who we think will make the show, and then, you know, we'll talk. Now, the quota, when you're casting for reality shows, you have a quota. It's not easy. It's super hard casting reality shows.
Oh, yeah.
You have to bring in at least about 15 to 30 people a week just to be auditioned, right?
Okay.
And so that was the quota. So when I came in with people on my first week, as a day player, I brought in 215 people.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Where were you going to the swap
You were
meet?
hitting
No,
the street
I
hard.
went places. I would go places nobody else would go.
Right.
Like, you're not going to go to Compton. Let's face it. I love you, white people, but you're not going to Compton. You know,
I mean,
it's
I'll be
you're
honest,
not
I
going to-
haven't been to Compton.
yo, you're not. You know,
did.
I went to Watts and strip clubs.
You went to the hood. He was getting
Went
it.
to the hood.
And everybody wants an opportunity.
Yeah.
You know?
And I just knew how to find interesting characters because I was just interested in that. And, you know, so they were so impressed with my ability to convince people to come in that, you know, they gave me a job. And then from there, it just
yeah.
You just
kept
went all
going.
over.
Yeah, they
Blow-
gave me.
blow
I did the pilot for the next dating show, which was The Fifth Wheel, and
Yes. I remember the fifth wheel.
yeah. And then eventually, I got a job at MTV.
Yeah.
Hey.
And my first show with them was Tail Daters.
Yes.
And then I did a 3-year run with a show called Date My Mom, which is
I remember that.
Yes.
yeah.
Wow, I do remember that.
So it was just one after the next, and
Yeah,
You
and
know?
you've done a lot. You've done Star Maker. You've
Yeah.
done Nick Cannon Presents Wildin' Out.
Wildin' Out. Yeah.
You did MTV's Top Pop Group.
Yeah.
So you've done a lot. I have them written down here. I'm cheating.
Good, because I
cheating.
forget.
Right.
It's about 35 shows. One time I counted all the shows. I was like, oh,
Wow.
that's
Now,
a
when
lot of them.
you go out when you were recruiting for people,
Yeah.
like what made you decide like, okay, you would be good for this? Because I know some people when they're recruiting, they just need that number.
Yeah.
You want to come in? Fine. I'm gonna put you down
Right.
so I can do my quota.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you really eyed people and tried to pick people that would actually make the show. What things stood out to people?
You know what? I think for me, I'm just a person who's curious about people. I watch people just on a general. I mean,
Yeah.
I go around trying to figure out what makes people tick, and I love reading into a person's personality. I think I did it a lot when I was trying to, date this girl, date that girl. It's like, let me tell you what you really like.
Oh no.
So I just, and then also too, you know what? It's selling.
Yeah.
Really what it is. And I remember, right after college, not being able to find a job and working in telemarketing.
Oh God.
And,
We've
and
all been there.
I'm gonna tell you something. If you can be successful in telemarketing, you can be successful in anything.
Yes.
That's
And
true.
when I became a casting director and it was time for me to hire staff, I would go down to the mall and hire them boys at those kiosks that's trying to sell you a cell phone.
Yeah.
Because they are relentless.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's their paycheck.
Exactly.
Per commission.
No
Yeah.
doubt. And now when I tell them, hey, listen, I will pay you $700 a week to do what you do. I want you to go to the club, go to the parties, and bring me back people.
And see, and the thing with that is like you're already more than likely going
Yeah.
to those places.
Yeah.
So now
Exactly.
you're just getting paid to go to those
Getting paid
places and
for it.
find those people.
And the crazy thing is, back then, your business card would get you in the clubs for free.
Oh.
My MTV
Really?
business card got me into stuff I wasn't even supposed to be there.
Wow.
I got into a Playboy party one time.
Just because of a car.
I went up there, see, I'm with MTV, and just like
You
to
showed
check
them the
things
business.
out.
Shit, that means
Security
everybody
was
can go and make
like,
their own
security
cards.
was like, yeah, right this way, sir, no problem.
Wow.
Wow.
I like it.
But then a
Now
lot of
don't
people
y'all go
probably
out and try
wouldn't
to
have
do
done
an
it.
MTV card.
Right? Because
I
I
don't-
can make that at home.
Well,
Yeah,
that was
I-
then. I don't think
nowadays.
they're,
Now.
they ain't impressed with you now.
Now you
Right,
got to be on
no.
the list.
Celebrities can't even get in.
Wow.
So- and I've seen that happen many a time.
I had I threw a party last year that happened. I did I threw a party for BT After Party, and I had brought Chris Brown and Nick Cannon over at the Blasco downtown, and I didn't expect for it to get as out of control as it did. And there
Yeah.
were celebrities. I had to walk Tyson Beckford in. I had to come outside, come get him, and bring him in.
Because
Wow.
he couldn't get
He
in
couldn't
on
get
his
in.
own.
Could not get
Wow.
See that
It was crazy.
That's hard. It's hard out here for a pimp.
Word. I'm
is.
trying to be in those parties. Can I
Right.
flash my MTV
in. Oh
card?
man, come on! I'll give you. I got some left over.
Now, you were with reality TV in the beginning
Right.
of reality TV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that reality TV would last as long as it has?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the average television show costs so much money to make. I did one show for BET, which was a talk show format called All Drama with Vanessa Bell Calloway. That show ran probably, maybe $300,000-$400,000 an episode to make.
Oh, wow.
It was very expensive. And so when you think about the cost of sitcoms, you think about the cost of most TV shows, they're very expensive, whereas back then reality shows were super cheap to make.
Yeah.
So if you can make it cheap on production, you're still getting the same ad dollars. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. I bet it would, especially with like the writer strike and stuff happening.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
were just
there was
like,
no other game in town.
what else can we do?
Yeah, and writer strike lasted for a long time.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. So when you're casting for reality shows, is it true that like you have to look for these specific types and these specific people in order to, because a lot of times we think like, okay, the reason why they got on there is because they're on there as the bitch, as the token black guy, as the gay person, as the white guy. You know, it is when you're going into casting for these shows. Is that typically what
I think
everyone looks for?
I think when it first started off, it was pretty one-dimensional. You know, we had to have, you know, a certain amount of black people, a certain amount of white people, a certain amount of Hispanics, and you did have to have a very animated personality. Big personalities work very well, whether you were cute or not. I mean, if you have a big personality, it would work well. In today's environment, story is very important. Story has to be very authentic. You can't fake it till you make it anymore.
Right.
And back then, unfortunately, you know, there were shows out there that were not genuinely reality shows. They were, you know, they were kind of scripted, but they were manufactured. They weren't like true to form.
Yeah.
And the audience eventually they started looking through that.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't, you know, you have to be authentic with what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
But with that said, which is very interesting, because now what I tend to hear a lot today is, oh, that's all scripted. Like, it's a reality show, but all that's fake. They're acting.
Yeah.
So how much of it today is acting versus real, authentic? This is what's going on in their lives, and you know, this is their real story, and it could be their real story.
Well, you know what, and I have no problem giving up the tricks of the trade.
Go on, share.
I'm
now.
a producer now.
Right.
Okay, no, it's a lot of it is coached. I mean, you kind of know, you know, you kind of sit down with the cast and you kind of go over, you know, what's going on today. And it happened even with the Kardashians, you know, they sit down and say, okay, let's map out what's going on today. And each one of them situations, there is a story thread that you can follow. And I think, like, you know, when you like the Kardashians or, you know, one of those, you know, bigger shows or Housewives or what have you, you kind of understand the flow of things. And so now you can sit down with your producers. You can say, you know, okay, you know, today I'm going to the store and I'm going to confront that clerk that forgot to put my toilet paper in the bag from last week. Really? Okay. And so you walk it through and then you execute it. It's still not scripted, but you because, like with anything, you got to have an idea what's going on. Now, oddly enough, there are two shows that I can tell you for a fact have no format. It just turns on the camera and let it go. And that's The Real World and the Ray J and Brandy show. And,
I used to love Ray J and Brandy show.
What happened to their show?
You know, I think by the time they got to the third season, it just, you know, they kind of wanted to go in different directions. And actually, I'm very close to the Norwoods. And I can definitely tell you that everything that you saw on television happens in real life.
Yeah.
Still to this day, you can go you can go see Sonya right now, and you will still have.
Miss Sonya. Miss Sonya ruled with the iron
She's
fist.
a tough cookie.
She is.
You know what the weird thing is? She's such a sweetheart, though.
Yeah.
People, you know, she is tough, but she's so down to earth. And I remember, you know, one time we all went out to Vegas because Ray J had a advertisement endorsement to do, and you know, you would think that, you know, she's going to all the fancy restaurants. Miss Sonya will tear up some Sizzler in a minute. Sizzler. Sonya, where are we going? Sizzler. Okay, she is
Sizzler
so
sound good.
She is the most down to earth person. Yeah, so
I hear that.
love her to death.
So when you have a reality show to cast, let's kind of go through the process.
Right.
And there's recruiting, but there's also people can submit for reality shows as well.
Yeah.
How do you sort through all those submissions that people that you're recruiting, people who are submitting? How do you then sort through those people that then go to the next step after being submitted?
Well, it depends on what level you're on. I mean, if you're a casting associate and you have a casting director or a casting producer that's over you, you know, it's just like anything else. You kind of sort through what you see, and if something that catches you, you present it to your casting director or whomever is in charge. Then at that point, they present it to the executive producers, and you know, and then they bring you in for an interview and see if it's the same thing in person. You know, when you're talking about a video submission,
because I know a lot of friends who, and myself included, who used to try out for reality shows. I remember this show on MTV, Fanatic.
Okay.
where you would pretend to be like your favorite singer or whatever. I tried out for that.
Did you? Who'd you pretend to
who are
be? Yeah, I'm who'd you try to be?
Okay, so I tried to be one of the guys from O Town.
Wow.
Wow, that is a
from the first making the band.
Woo.
I'm a little. I shouldn't be admitting that, but I'm just going to admit it because I'm keeping it real.
Yeah.
I was also just trying to be on the show.
I've tried
And I
out
was
for
like,
reality.
I could be Trevor from O Town. I mean,
Hey.
I'm black. I can lip sync. But with those casting tapes, like, what things stand out? Because when you watch those, I'm sure people are trying to do everything they can to impress you.
Yeah.
But what makes you go, okay, this is the person? Because
I have to
feel
believe
like
it. I gotta believe it. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, I mean, I when I was working on the Pussycat Dolls, it was really about the genuineness of your life, and can you sell me the realness, and can you really, can I really connect with you? And that's, to be honest with you, there's no like one formula. It just depends on your tape and how many people you can actually connect with. And if you can connect with the people who are casting, then they feel like you can connect with the rest of the world.
Yeah. So I feel like being real and authentic can get you in, because people are so quick to try to put themselves like, what niche are they going to go into, and then they try to be that for you.
But okay, so then I have a question too, because my big because I've tried out for America's Next Top Model. You know, I'm tall. I'm pretty thin. So everybody goes, Chloe, you need to go on. You need to go on. You need to go on. So you get your stuff together and you think that, all right, I have a story to tell. But my issue or my question is, what is this story that they're looking for? Because I feel like everything from what I've seen is you got to have a sob story. You have to make America feel bad. You got to
feel like you're living out of your car.
Yeah,
you were abandoned.
Why can't I be just a hard-working woman of color? I have an education. I'm single. I was raised in a single home, but I wasn't raised like with 3 cents in my pocket, literally all to my name my whole
36
life.
cents in a mobile card.
Exactly. And I mean, everyone has their story. But I mean, how bad or traumatic does your story have to be for you to get on reality TV?
Well, you know what? It's changed now because I have a show right now that I'm developing about a family out in Lafayette, Louisiana. It's a crawfish farm. Super Cajun. I'm talking the Water Boy.
Wow.
And I wanted to, sell the conflicts that they have within the family, and the new mandate now is they don't want that. They want more positive now because we spent so long on the negative. But I can say back then it was like anything else. Bad news travels fast. I mean, why do we sit here and watch a car chase for 3 hours?
I never did that.
And
but
so,
I heard.
I mean, so there's something about a well-adjusted person that it's boring. It's like watching paint dry.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And you want to feel like there is things to unravel. We want to see you go through a metamorphosis. We don't want to see you completely perfect. Then we have nowhere to go.
Right.
But if there's something that we can work through and peel back on and make, maybe. You start getting the audience like all geeked up about, okay, she's finally about to make this breakthrough. She didn't.
She did.
She fell back again. That's why Lindsay Lohan is so damn interesting.
But
poor Lindsay.
That makes me feel so bad. It's like
Lindsay.
Good Times, like
When
every
James
week
died.
something bad always happened, and that always made us.
Yes.
And I hate to say
I love
it.
Good Times.
I love
Yeah,
Good Times.
me
So
too.
I'm gonna go home tonight and watch me a copy episode.
I used to get so nervous when James would come home. Like it was my daddy coming home.
Yeah. And it's just like, like at the end of the episode, though, what's so disheartening is it's always something that's bad that's happened, but it's like, you know what, we stick together and we're gonna make it through. But the great thing at the end is like it's like that. What did you say? You said it earlier. Like they never reach it. They never attain to that thing.
It's like nah.
Like
maybe next week.
Just missed it. Yeah.
It was like they were trying to like
pay that bill.
Yeah. It's like they were trying to like get out of the ghetto and make a better life.
Make it.
And then it was like as soon as like they were about to like hit it, that's when James died, and we was like, oh no,
exactly.
Oh, Black Jesus. Why did you take Black Jesus off the wall? We was making all that money.
Right? Oh my God.
So then once you go through tapes and go through submissions,
right.
and you window down the people that you find interesting enough to then present to, the producers and everything like that. How do they then decide? Because I think us as watchers of reality shows, we think that they then go into groups. Yeah. And like I mentioned earlier, this person will be this type of personality, and this person will be this type of personality, and this person has this story. After that, what is that step like that, or is
it depends. I mean, for some networks or for some shows, it can be more group. On sometimes it's one person. Believe it or not, on Top Model, which Michelle Mock, who is has been the casting director for that, great eye for talent, and she picks some amazing people. But at the end of it, Tyra has the final. She comes in and she's yes, no, yes. Yeah, and she just knows what it is. What's going to work.
Well, and I guess being that it's her show, I guess she wants to direct it in a certain way. Yeah,
and then also too, the network has a lot. They come in and and they're a part of that process too. So it can go through a lot of approvals. And I guess when you've been in it for long enough, you kind of know what works.
Have you ever been in a situation where you knew that this person or these people would be great, and you had to go to bat for those people, even against like the networks, against the people? What was that situation like? And did they eventually go with those people?
Could you give us specifics?
You know what? There was...
Tell it.
Exactly, like Lena says, tell it.
There was... on Top Model, there was a girl. God, I can't not remember that chick. Dominique. Dominique.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys remember Dominique? Now, I was working on the Pussycat Dolls at the time, and I knew Dominique back in Ohio. She was very, very good at very impressive. She went to the casting call and she did well, and she'd call me and say, Lamont, I need you to put in a word, let them know what's going on. And I would go in that office every day, and I would be like, Dominique. And I'm like, well, you know what? She might be better on the Pussycat Dolls. Doesn't she sing? I was like, well, yeah. Why don't you see if she could be on that show? but she would be perfect for Top. And so Dominique would call me all the time. What they say? And I said, Dominique, I'm fighting as hard as I possibly can. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you, the first cycle did not happen, and I just threw up my hands. I was like, it's just not gonna happen. And I really fought hard for it. And I don't know what took place, but then by the time the next cycle rolled around, she made it on the show, and and she was great, and she's memorable.
Yeah, she definitely is.
So so I've had those times. I'm like, come on, this is the one right here.
So did you believe in her?
I did from day one.
Okay,
I did, because she was a character.
Yeah.
From day one.
See, it all takes just one person to believe in you that can like push you.
Elevate your career to the next level.
Yeah, I know.
So I have another question, because you did say originally, like back in the day, that when you first started, they were looking for a quota of a certain amount of black and white and Latino and this and that and the next. So I would imagine that that has changed, that guideline, but they still want a certain amount of something, whether it's the bitchy girl, the preppy girl, the Christian girl, the this, the that, the that. So what has that changed to or evolved to today?
Story.
Just straight story.
Everything is story. I mean, because if you think about it, we don't really have any dating shows. And to be honest with you, there are companies now that are getting away from docuseries and sticking to more with big formatted type of shows. As an audience, it seems like we're no longer impressed with a lot of the competition shows, those one-dimensional, like I'm here to win some money kind of thing. I mean, we've got a few of those still left, but those aren't necessarily things that people are gravitating towards. But story, if you're, if you got a family business, those are great.
Or is it just odd or different, something you never seen before kind of story?
Yeah, I think it can be oddities depending on the network, but I think a lot of it is just relatability.
Right.
That's it. I mean, can we really relate to your story?
Okay.
I know I was watching CNN, and there's a a girl who is 20 years old, and she started her own bakery, Jordan Sweets, and everyone's talking about her, and she has celebrities coming in and get her cakes and what have you, and her family is supporting her. And I saw this on CNN. I was like, oh my God, I want to make a reality show on that girl.
Yeah.
And I searched on the internet, found her phone number, and called her. I was like, I want to pitch you for a reality show. She said somebody's already doing it. Oprah Winfrey's executive producers already trying to pitch her.
Wow.
But I knew that, okay, so that means I was already on the right path.
On the right track.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now it's like stories.
Yeah, it's stories. I mean, at least that's what it is for me. I mean, you know, like the crawfish farm. You know, to find out these people look like a hot mess.
Like
oh my God! But they're making $6,000 a day. Crawfish.
Oh wow!
Boom.
Crawfishing.
Boom.
I hear that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to join in. Maybe
Super
we need to get on a
country,
flight and just.
man.
I just need a small.
And
little...
we talking in the swamps,
Yeah.
alligators,
Wow.
panthers, bears. It's nasty. And if they get that show picked up, yeah,
And let me guess,
I'm gonna be happy, but I ain't gonna be happy to be there.
They make $6,000. What'd you say? A day
per day.
And they probably live so just
Minimally.
Super
regular
minimally.
American pie life.
Yeah. They put most of it back into the farm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's
crazy.
smart. So like when you have a show like The Real World, and then you have like one of those competition shows like the Pussycat Dolls.
Right.
I'm sure the casting for those are completely different because the criteria are completely different.
That's it.
Will The Real World be the one that you're looking for personality story? And then the Pussycat Dolls is more so talent, hopefully.
Yes.
And then also story.
That's
and
You got it.
and
You should be a casting director.
boom.
You just
You know the
you
first
just
person I'm gonna cast? Myself.
There it is. You just
Because I
cracked the code.
because there have been friends of mine who have auditioned for like the singing competition shows,
Right.
and I know that they can sing, and they're very talented singers, and they come back and they're like, I didn't make it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I don't
Yeah.
understand, because I think we think like they're looking for the next best dancer, singer, model, designer, or whatever.
And it's the story.
Yeah.
But what they miss out on, I guess, is the story of
It
it.
was so weird because during the casting call for Pussycat Dolls, which I've also been in a casting holding room with top model girls, and I promise you, every last one of the girls get on camera and start crying.
Really?
At some point, someone must
It's
have
an
told them,
emotional
"Yeah,
moment.
let's just cry." We're all just crying. I'm like,
See, I would be that person that's sitting there like,
She lying.
I was. That was my
Really?
face.
no, you
I feel
lying.
like all casting directors have just become tough as nails when you walk in the room.
You see it. It's so much.
I
You
think-
see it.
But
in
you're
and
talking
out.
about a
Yeah.
story, so half of America right now that's watching the show is gonna be like, "Damn, I need to write my story. What's it gonna be? What I'm gonna say? What's
Well, you know, at that point, yeah, because we still got to the point where, you know, we weren't trying to make you stick to the realness of what your story really is. And some people had great ones. I mean, I know that this one girl, Alicia Jarrett, who was on the Girlicious show. I mean, she had like a heart condition and she almost died. And I was like, oh my God.
tragedy.
And they just tragedy and they put her on the show.
See?
And she made it on there.
that makes me feel awful because I'm like, because honestly, you know, today they're just like, well, you want to be famous, whatever, get a reality show.
Yeah.
But it's different now. So I think now, I think now because positivity is becoming more of the mandate, now it's like, okay, what can you do to be encouraging?
Right.
What are you doing? Like, are you doing something that's making some kind of impact?
Yeah.
You know, it still has to, you know, be something that people think connect with, but now it just doesn't have to be, you know, super tragic and super ratchet. And, you know.
Yeah.
But what are like Real Housewives? I feel like they don't make any impact. They're just entertaining.
Well, that's still kind of on the crossroads. You got to understand, like, I mean, reality shows has been going on for what, 10, 12 years now?
A long time.
Right. So if you think about it,
20
you know,
years, maybe.
please don't say that because
Real World, the first
It was like early 90s.
was like 91.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
no, I don't think was it 91.
The first.
I just know I got
I'm gonna look
here.
it up.
I got here in 98.
You got here in 98.
Okay,
You got
you
here on the
still young.
cusp
You still young. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't
But no,
worry.
it was reality TV show has been around for a
But it's changed.
But it you can definitely
evolved.
change you can definitely tell the changes
Yeah.
because like back when I was watching reality TV,
Yeah.
I felt like it was about like they were still real because they had no idea what this realm of TV was. And then now I feel like that since so many people are familiar with it, they do what they can to get themselves on the show rather than just being those real people that we were familiar with back then.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There is still ratchetness in reality shows. Yes. That's why Love and Hip Hop is still doing what it do. You know,
that's my show right there. That is my show.
I mean, I'm not. I don't ever want to send a message that drama and all that does not not relate over. All I'm saying is that there is a movement that's happening, and it's starting to shift more towards positivity because we've done negative.
Yes.
So now let's try something else.
Yes. Amen.
So speaking of just going into our main topic today, do you think that reality TV has now just become a platform for those people who are trying to break into the entertainment industry?
Oh God, I hope to God not. Well, because here's the thing. People
can be very interesting.
Well, look. Okay. I have a confession to make.
Okay,
I will confess.
Confession time. Hashtag confession
on BHL. I'm gonna confess. When I first started, it was so hard to try to convince people to go on certain shows, and so my tagline was, "Well, you want to be famous, don't you?"
See,
and you're an
started
actress.
The movement.
You're an actress. Well, listen. How would you rather people know who you are walking into the next audition, or would you rather be nobody walking into the audition? So, so now that we are, how many years? You say 20 years?
A whole lot.
I don't want to say 20. I'm going to say 10. I'm sticking
whole lot.
Now, I can definitely say that it can hurt you more than help you.
Really?
There are only a couple of people that have been able to transition, and when I say a couple, I'm thinking Nene Leakes.
Yes, she definitely broke out.
And the second one, I mean, obviously the Kardashians really scored, but even with Kim Kardashian, I mean, she did that one thing with Tyler Perry.
I know, that's what I was thinking, like that one.
Which, but after that, I mean, she can't, all she can do is come in and be herself.
She can't. I think she's done some, well, actually, now that I think about it, played herself on
you can play yourself.
On what is it? What are those been around forever soap operas from All My Children? I think she played on that a little bit.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you how. You guys got to understand, though. I mean, Hollywood, they go home and they watch it, but they don't respect it.
Right.
Because, do you guys remember when Kim really wanted to get a star in Hollywood? Do you guys remember that controversy? And they told her, hell to the no. It was like, because you haven't won anything, and they reserve the Walk of Fame for people who, have Grammys or,
Wait. She wanted a legit star?
She wanted a star. She wanted legitimacy,
with Kim Kardashian on it.
So she thought she was Jennifer Lopez.
Well, I mean, because in the same breath, you go in Hollywood into that the wax museum, and you'll see her statue in there. So I guess after a while, she figured, if Diddy's on there, why can't I be on there?
Yeah, but those people have accomplishments,
man. And that's when you knew that reality TV, doesn't have the respect that it should. I found that out one time. I went to the Emmys. And I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh my God, I get to go to the Emmys, and Tracy Morgan, everyone else is here. Man, they treated me like I was. Are you here to park the cars? Because you'd be better off.
Oh, wow.
Because you're in reality.
In reality.
But do you think that they have that sort of bitterness towards reality because it's become so popular that it kind of takes over scripted stuff?
Yeah.
It did that. Do you remember, what was that movie that with Keanu Reeves? It was called The Replacement.
Oh, The Replacements?
The Replacements. When they brought in the football team to replace the real football team. Remember how that was?
Yeah.
That is what it is.
Because that's what reality shows were, and during the writer's strike.
Yeah.
They were the replacements.
Yeah.
That's true.
And there's just no respect for that.
So as an actor who, just wants to be seen, needs some type of exposure, would you recommend or not recommend going the reality route And if you recommend it, what is the best way to do that? Because we do see those breakout stars like Nene, who started off on Real Housewives, was pursuing acting before Housewives, and now all of these doors are opening for her. Is there a right way or wrong way as an actor to do reality TV?
Well, here's the thing. I feel strongly that you have to pick your lane.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you are going to be, in theater and known as a Broadway theater actor, you may not necessarily transition into films.
Right.
There are people who are meant for television and never meant for the box office. I think that reality is the same way. If you're going to be a reality show star, that's who you are. That's where you're going to be, and it has niched out its own lane. So if you want to be considered a real actor, pick your lane.
Yeah,
that's true.
And then develop yourself, because I've got more respect for actors than I do for people on reality, because you have to study your craft.
Right.
And there's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah.
And I know I tried casting for some films. Me casting for a film and casting for a reality show is like night and day, and it's so freaking hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. Because I mean, with reality, like you said, it's just all about the personality.
Exactly.
And then with film and TV, that's all.
You got to know your craft.
Now, I'm grateful for it, because I think that had it not been for reality, I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys right now.
Right.
So it's opened the door for people like me to be able to, have a voice in Hollywood, being a black man and all that, I mean, it's
big.
And for me, a lot of weird things happen. Like, I found out I was like the first black guy that got hired as a casting director at MTV. And I remember at one point they started writing a bunch of articles about it, and I was like, God, do I get like a Nobel Peace Prize? But it's opened up doors. But honestly, if you're gonna be an actor or actress, pick your lane, man.
Yeah.
Decide what you want to be.
Like, don't get on Bad
Girls Club and think you about to get a part with Jack Nicholson next week.
That's not going to
happen.
happen. Don't be in the real world house fighting and talking about you pregnant, and then expect to get on a movie with Meryl Streep. That ain't going to happen.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
One time, I think one girl from Survivor a long time ago got a part with Rob Schneider in The Animal. That was the one time I saw that.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Yeah. It was like, wow,
but she didn't get it, but nothing after that.
Because I feel, and I do feel like, people who are in reality TV, once they do it, they somehow then try to break away from it. So that way they can be seen as a serious actor or actress, because they went that route and they were like, well, I'm getting exposure, but now it's not working out how I thought it would.
Yeah. I mean, like you look at Love and Hip Hop. I have spoken with some of the guys in the first episode.
Wait, which one? There's New York now and Atlanta.
New York.
All right, you
gotta differentiate.
Yeah. And it's like you look at like Olivia and those people. I mean, it's a challenge when now you're so well known in reality. Although at one point you were known in music, it made it hard for them to sell records after the fact.
Really? And so it didn't boost their musical careers.
It's such a thin line. For certain people, it can do well for you, and
because like K Michelle, I feel like
K
Michelle did
good for her.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But like I said, it's just a fine line. Other people, it was a train wreck.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So I mean, it's a risk.
Yeah, it's just so hard to decide if that is the right route for you, especially if you're someone pursuing more than just being a reality. Some people are fine with being a reality star. They just want the exposure. They want to walk into somewhere and they know their name, whether good or bad, however they were portrayed. They just want that. But I think, there are some people who, because I think in this day and age, you have to come in with stuff. When you go to the casting director or agent or manager, you have to come in with X amount of Twitter followers and people knowing you and stuff like that. That I think as actors, we kind of go, well, what's my platform going to be? And then
you gotta have it together too. I mean, one thing that irritates me a lot is like, even if you do make it in reality and you want to go into acting, study your craft, man. Because I mean, like, like, look, I don't care. Tammy?
Tamar?
No, Tammy Roman.
Oh, Oh, Tammy.
Tammy.
Oh my God. Yo, Tammy. You done had a sitcom. You couldn't take any time out to take any acting lessons, really.
She did have a sitcom on TV
Yeah,
One,
with
didn't
my
she?
with my homegirl Elise Neal.
Yeah,
Yes.
I remember that.
Is it still on?
Yeah.
To say the least, I watched one episode and I just didn't like
Yeah,
all the components. And not just her, all the components were
I'm
there.
just saying, man, get serious about your craft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And don't just be turned up just to be turned up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like they chose her because of who she is on Basketball Wives and tried to take that and put it into the show.
Guess what her first reality show was?
What?
Real World.
Real
Real
World.
World.
Yeah.
I
forgot
remember
about
her
that.
from
The
was
very
it?
first.
It was
Her and-
L.A.
Her and Puck got into it.
The very first.
L.A.
Yeah.
It
was a big
it
old
was
fight.
that whole. It was David.
Was
And
it David?
His name was
David, the gay guy. that
And
died?
no, that's Pedro. That's a whole
Pedro.
different
Oh,
season.
gotcha.
But David
This
was
boy
like.
know his stuff.
I know. I'm like,
Because I was all up in that reality TV, but
Right.
that whole
wasn't my
situation
lane
with
at that
like
time.
he had ripped off the cover, of
Cover,
her, and
right.
she was
Woo.
exposed, and she
Yeah.
got real upset, and and
so
then
was
she
Tammy
came
always
back.
the firecracker?
Always.
Always.
turned
She
up.
always was. So we're running out of time, but to kind of wrap things up for someone who wants to get into reality TV, nowadays you have to have a big personality,
Yeah.
a good story,
Yeah.
that are all authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Just be real.
Keep it 100.
Yeah.
And if it's meant for you, it'll be.
If it's meant for you, it will be.
And if you're trying to be a serious actor,
Be a serious actor.
be a serious actor. Don't try to do reality
come on.
TV.
So be a starving artist for as long as you need to be.
Yes.
Because when you make it, you won't be starving no
Absolutely.
more.
No doubt. No
For
doubt.
lack of better words.
So before we head out, I want to make sure that you guys go and check out Lamont's article in Sister to Sister. He is
Hey.
talking about the Aaliyah
Yes, yes.
movie that he is trying to produce with
right.
our previous guest that we had, Miss Phaedra Harris.
Phaedra.
Right.
So make sure you guys pick that up. It's the March issue of Sister to Sister, and he talks about that.
Page 20.
Page 20.
Page 20. Don't miss it. 20.
Thank you very much, Lamont, for joining
Thank
us.
you.
And before we head out, where can people find out more information about you?
Okay.
Where can they follow you on Twitter? All that.
You can follow me on Twitter, which is Lamont Pete at how do you say that?
At Lamont Pete.
That's Twitter.
Yeah.
Website LamontPeteCommunications.com. And also I will be in Vegas May 23rd doing a Kevin Hart party at Hard Rock Casino. So come on and party with us.
Chloe and I will be there. We got some tickets.
As it should be, man. Y'all better be there. I got a bottle and VIP for you. Let's
Listen,
go.
let's get it.
And
Turn
Chloe,
up.
where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Twitter, Chloe Onyx, and on Instagram, Chloe Onyx.
And of course, you guys can find me on all social media platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Lounging with Tony, or on my website, loungingwithtony.com. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube page. Again, Lamont, thank you very much for joining
Yes,
us.
it's a pleasure.
And we will see you guys in 2 weeks for another The Casting Call. Have a great day. Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.
Thanks for watching Black Hollywood Live on YouTube. For more in-depth interviews and news, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion in the comment section below here. See you soon, everyone. Bye.